Warning: the following review contains spoilers.
I like to think of TV as a lovely plate of sausages. Your script is like a pig that needs to go through a mincing machine, and once it's all churned out and put in skins, out comes a lovely plate of sausages. However, once in a while, the machine breaks down, and all that comes out is a pig, which just needs to be thrown into the bin to be fed to rats and foxes. On a rare occasion, someone says, "We haven't got time to make sausages now, let's just stick that pig on a plate and hope no one notices or are too polite to say anything." Which brings me nicely onto the pig on a plate episode of Doctor Who called Rogue. An episode so thin, so poorly written, so badly thought out, and so misguided that it wastes airtime and a talented cast. Initially, I was excited to see Jonathan Groff was going to be in this episode, as I previously enjoyed his performances as Jesse St James in Glee, Kristoff in Frozen, and King George in Hamilton. My excitement, however, quickly waned within the first few minutes of this abysmal episode. This is the plot, if you can call it that. Some aliens try to take over humans, and then they get stopped. Seriously, that is it. Oh, and there's a pointless forced love interest shoehorned in. It is supposed to be brave and significant.
I don't think so!
I always thought Orphan 55 was one of the worst Doctor Who episodes ever, but at least you could laugh at it, because the episodes leading up to it were so dire, every week you were saying to yourself, surely it can't get any worse than this, and then it exceeded all your expectation of what the word crap really meant. Plus, the cast and characters, apart from Graham, were so shockingly inept it only added to the fun that they were too talentless and wooden to carry such an awful script. But Rogue followed three strong stories, and we know Gatwa, Gibson and Groff are all more than competent actors, so it just highlights that even with their talents they couldn't make a silk purse out of this fetid, decaying pig's carcass of a script. I mean, how the hell did this piece of toilet paper get past page 7 of the first reading stage, never mind being filmed and put out on Prime TV, is beyond me. One of my heroes, Roger Corman, he did a film called Little Shop of Horrors, and that was churned out in 3 days, because there was time left over from his previous film, Bucket of Blood. So he reused some of the same sets and some of the same actors to make the iconic B-movie that ended up as a Broadway play and a musical film. This is what Rogue feels like. Bridgerton finished a bit early, and someone quickly wrote a script and churned this out with a fraction of the charm and entertainment value of Little Shop of Horrors. Speaking of Bridgerton, did we really need to have so many references to it? The first one was funny enough, but maybe the script was so thin they needed to drag it out in any way they could. Let's be honest, why did the episode take place in 1830? No reason, other than have all the actors dress up and have some fun. It did not help move the story forward. What was the point of the love interest? So we can have a groundbreaking kiss? Fair enough, but it certainly had nothing to do with moving the plot forward. And those aliens, seriously, did we not learn anything from the cat's reject in Orphan 55? Clearly in the meetings, no one was brave enough to put their hands up and say, "Guys, we've got a bigger budget from Disney. I really think we can stretch a little bit further than a Regency period costume with a random Halloween mask stuck on someone's head." Now let's talk about the character of Rogue. Let's be frank, he's a third-rate Jack Harkness with a very similar introduction. Cut out the middleman. Bring back Jack Barrowman already. He absolutely lit up the screen in Fugitive of the Judoon and Revolution of the Daleks. I would love to have him back in the show, and I think actually he could have helped drag this stinker of a script out of the gutter. This atrocious episode reminds me of watching stories like Mark and the Rani and Time of the Rani by Pip and Jane Baker. I felt like Andy from Shawshank Redemption, wading through the prison sewage pipe to get to freedom. I felt so obliged to get to the end that even seeing Richard E. Grant in the montage of Doctors, which would normally have me jumping up and down with joy with geeky Who reverence, simply left me in a state of...
No, I don't really feel like it.
Seriously, what was the point of Ruby pretending to be a Cholder at the end? It served no purpose other than to drag things out. It set us up to think that she was dead, just for them to reveal about a minute later that she wasn't dead. And let's be honest, if you thought she was dead, you must have been recently hit yourself in the head really hard in the face with a shovel, and then you deserve to be dead. Oh, and the crying. Please, enough already. Stop. Once a series at the end of the last episode, perhaps if it really tugs at the heartstrings, but it's wearing a bit thin now. If that was me crying every week, my dad would be grabbing me by the neck by now and said, "Shut up, I'll give you something to cry about." And breathe. I really do hope I'm back to my happier, more positive self for next week's review of The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Do you agree or disagree with this review? Please leave your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe.